Now, as we continue to see back and forth about tariff increase onto Chinese EVs by the European Commission, today we read that China just warned the EU Commission about doing separate talks with car companies, individual car companies in China, negotiating on how much or on this tariff issue, which is something that is not good. I mean, you will know that during this week or sometimes this week, China did send a proposal of saying that the minimum price for Chinese cars to be sold in Europe or imported to Europe from China should be around 30 euros or $32,000, which EU Commission rejected that proposal made by China, which was not good, right? Because it means that there's still a lot of back and forth continuing on this EU tariff increase onto Chinese EV stocks like Nio, or EV cars like Nio. So yeah, man, and knowing that China comes and wants the EU not to do talks with individual car companies, it means that they've started doing talks with car companies in China. And on the picture, or when on the source where I got this news, Nio was the car which was put on the article. I don't know, but yeah, it appears that EU is talking individually to companies in China, is talking to individual companies in China rather than maybe reaching an agreement with the Chinese government. So these are the latest news, and I think Europe, if they are doing this, indeed, I think it's a low blow. They must try to find a solid ground with China rather than trying to find solution with individual Chinese companies, because it will not be that good. It will still be unfair on other car companies, because yes, you can agree, let's say for instance with Nio, about certain prices that you will allow them to sell, or certain prices that you will put as price tags onto Nio cars, but what about the other EV cars? It won't be fair. So I think there must just be a solution that covers all the EV companies in China, as this tariff increase affects all the companies, or all the EV companies that are selling cars in Europe. So this is what we read today. It is not something that is good. I mean, this comes after you know that majority of those countries that voted in agreement with the tariff to be increased onto Chinese EVs, and though the voting was concluded, we still know that China and Europe, they are still busy in talks, which is why China sent the proposal of $32,000 as a standard base price for all the cars that are imported to Europe from China, which is something that, knowing that it was rejected, it shows you that there has been some talks going on. And once we find the solid ground, then I suppose it will be lights out for everyone, including our very own Nio. So this is what we are reading, this is what is happening, and hopefully China and Europe can find a solid ground, because as it stands, things are not looking good. Though there are some countries like Norway, where it's doing the most or selling the most, who are not participating in this. I mean, I did a video sometime this week talking about the kind of sales we've been seeing coming from, of course, Norway, where we saw Nio just in the space of 9 days selling 48 cars in Norway, which most of the cars, or 30 out of those 48 cars, were just the Nio EL6, which shows you that sales are starting to improve there in Norway, which is something that is pretty exciting, something that is amazing. And I think as of yesterday, they were reaching almost 60 cars being sold, which shows you that this month, with no doubt, we are going to see the sales, or the total sales that Nio generates in Norway, exceeding over 100. But Norway, it is the only country that is doing the most at the moment, as some of the countries are struggling to scope or to score sales. I mean, I saw there are some incentives, there are some discounts that Nio is offering in countries like Germany, and hopefully they stimulate the sales which Nio generates in Germany. So this kind of performance we are seeing onto Europe with the upcoming tariff increase, it will just make things to be worse, and we don't want to see that. So we just, all we want is for China and Europe to come in good terms, find a solid ground, so that companies like Nio can continue to do well. I know the CEOs say with the sub brands they can perform better in Europe, but we want also the Nio main brand to perform, or to put in a show in Europe and scope some good sales there, which is why it's important for both parties to come in agreement, so that there can be a way forward. So I look forward to the kind of conclusion that we are going to get onto this tariff increase by the EU Commission onto Chinese EV stocks in EV companies like Nio, and I hope there can be a solution that both parties agree upon, which will benefit both sides, which is something that I suppose yeah, very soon we should be getting to that. I think there will be a solution which will come. I mean, if the fact that China propose or throw in at $32 or 30 euros as minimum base price for Chinese EV cars, I think we are getting there. The EU should come with their own also proposals which will help China and come into good terms. It's important for companies that are selling their cars or EV cars in Europe like Nio. Envoy is coming to Europe. Firefly already is coming to Europe. And with this tariff increase, hopefully they can be so good that also Nio can be able to generate tons and tons of revenues, not compromising margins onto these also sub-brand vehicles. So I just thought I'd just give you this quick update. Tell me what you think about this. I think blue sky is coming. Those that are persevering will definitely be rewarded in the long term. I think share price wise we'll see a continuation of a recovery because Nio is a company that has been doing so well fundamentally, and therefore even with the big stimulus that we just got to discuss today, it's just the cherry on top. Yeah, so blue sky is coming. Do your own due diligence. I think we shall be rewarded in the long term, or those that are persevering through the headwinds will definitely be rewarded. Otherwise, that's all from me, and God bless you all.